Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC. Today we are talking about the Traxxas TQi radio and two kind of cool features about this that most people really don't know, don't use, and I wanted to talk about that, explain what it is and how to do it. Overall, the Traxxas TQi radio, most of you have seen this before, comes with every single Traxxas radio or vehicle out there, so a lot of you are familiar with it. It's an okay radio. It does have some decent features, not the greatest radio out there, not the worst, but somewhere in the middle, but it does have two cool things about it. First of all is that you can get the Traxxas Link. It's basically a Bluetooth module to allow you to use your phone to connect to the radio and actually make all the adjustments there. You can adjust the TSM, you can adjust the endpoints, you can do all the drive effects. A lot of cool things with an app on your phone, so I highly recommend you get that if you don't already. It's just like a $35 part. I'll put a link in the description below where you can pick one of those up. And the second cool thing about this is you can actually use a single radio to control all your Traxxas vehicles. So if you've got a lot of Traxxas vehicles like I do, I've got like, I don't know, 10 or 12 different Traxxas vehicles. Here we've got the TRX4M and the Traxxas Stampede. And I'm going to show you how to do this. But yeah, kind of a common problem a lot of you may have is that, if you got 3, 4, 5, 10 different Traxxas vehicles, you've got 3, 4, 5, or 10 different radios. You gotta label them. You forget which one goes with which. You gotta have batteries for all of them. It's kind of annoying, to be quite frank. There's no reason to have 10 different radios if you got 10 different cars. So the one cool thing about this is you can actually use a single radio, control all of them. So I'll show you how that works. We got the TRX4M, which normally comes with a TQ radio, and then we got the Stampede over here on the left here. So the way this works is that every vehicle and receiver basically gets bound to a particular radio. Out of the box, the radio that comes with the vehicle is obviously the one it's going to be bound to. So it's just listening for that particular radio, and it's going to be communicating with that radio and that radio only. So obviously if you have two different TQ radios, it's only going to be listening to one of them and being controlled by one of them. So the way this thing works is you turn on the radio, and then, for example, I've got the TRX4M, and the way the TRX4M works is once you plug it in, it turns on. So you go ahead and plug that in. Now that's the receiver LED, and when it turns on and when you see the green LED, that's when it's actually bound. It's listening to the right radio, and you can go ahead and control the vehicle, obviously, right? So that's nothing new there. But the cool thing about this is if you turn this thing off, and now you have to turn off the radio, you can actually hook up and have it bound to a second vehicle as well. You have to turn it off and then turn it back on to switch vehicles, but once again, turn on the radio, turn on the vehicle. Here we got the Stampede. You see the green LED. Vehicle is driving. You can have it crawling across the table, all that kind of stuff, and it's now actually controlling this vehicle. So one thing you may wonder is, well, now that it's controlling this vehicle, what happens if you turn on the other one? And the TQi radio is actually a little different than most RTR receivers and radios. It only will talk to one at a time. So the radio is also actually transmitting to the vehicle, getting information in back, and it knows, okay, I'm on and the vehicle's on, but I only want to talk to that one. So even if you plug in a different vehicle, that is actually bound to the same radio. You'll see you got the red LED, not the green one. You turn the wheel. Well, it's only going to control this vehicle. Even though both of them are bound to this radio and both of them are on, it's only going to control one vehicle at a time. Once again, unplug this thing, turn this thing off. Now you have to turn off the radio. Everything is off. Turn the radio on first again, of course. Plug this guy back in. Green light. Now we're controlling the TRX4M. So that's really what the feature is all about. It's pretty well designed. It makes sure it has all the safety things there, so you can never turn on two different vehicles, have them both driving at the same time with one radio. That would obviously be quite poor and something you don't want. So yeah, let's talk about how you actually bind more than one vehicle to the same radio, and we'll get into it. So the procedure is actually really quite simple. I'll show you how to do it. You got to have the vehicle off. You got to have the radio off, no LEDs or anything. So everything is off. And this is the only time you're ever going to turn on the vehicle first. So what you want to do is look at the receiver. You got to open up the receiver box, and there's a little bind button or link button right there. So you hold down that button while you turn on the vehicle, and you'll see a red flashing LED. That means that the receiver is in bind mode. It's looking for a radio to talk to. Now on the radio itself, there's actually a set button on top. you hold down the set button while you turn on the switch here, the power button, turn it on, let go, and you'll now actually see that the LED has turned green. That means that the receiver is now bound to the radio. It's listening to it. It's going to be controlled by it, and everything is good. Green light, everything is a go. And so yeah, that's how you actually bind it. So pretty simple procedure, not something, you know, that takes a lot of effort, not hard to do. It makes life a whole ton easier. I just use a single TQi radio for all my vehicles. The other cool thing is that some of the lower end vehicles like the Traxxas TX4M actually comes with a TQ radio. It's a little bit lower spec than the TQi, but it will actually bind to your TQi radio. So any TQ vehicle, like you might have a really basic Traxxas Bandit, that also comes with a TQ radio, but the TQ radios and receivers will actually bind up to the TQi radio. Now, if you have the Traxxas Link module, it will actually show you what model you're connected to. Unfortunately, with the TQ radios, it doesn't actually tell you the model. It just has kind of an entry, a generic entry. But for any of the TQi receivers, you'll actually have a nice list of all the vehicles. They're actually programmed in this radio and all the ones that you could possibly control. So yeah, that's pretty much it, how you actually use a single TQi radio for all your Traxxas vehicles. I also have a video on how to actually use the Traxxas Link up here on the right, and you can click on that, and there'll also be a link in the description below. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. Thanks for watching.